1 minute, everybody. Can you hear? All right.
This is Cape Coral Talk Radio. And now, broadcasting live from BARnch on Cape Coral Parkway, here are the hosts of Cape Coral Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to BARnch and Frank and Tracy and everybody, and thank you to everybody that came out tonight. We have a great show lined up for you tonight, and we want to thank Rocket Health. We have Brittany here from Rocket Health. She's our exclusive sponsor of the show, so if you need to know anything about your health, please stay alive for as long as you can and go see Rocket Health and talk to Brittany. And first, before we have a quick conversation with Frank, can everybody hear okay? We have a nice big crowd here.
Yeah, we really want to thank you guys all for showing up and showing out tonight. This is amazing.
Yes. And I think my wife wants to explain why she's wearing boots. She never wears boots before, and she has these.
For those of you who know me, I don't usually, run around in these kind of boots.
I like them, though. They're sexy.
They're going in the closet as soon as I get home. Anyways, no, I just did this in honor of our reboot, to reboot the show over here at BARunch. And we are so happy to be here.
Yeah.
We love the crowd. You know, it's there's a lot of New York strong in here. A little
Wow.
bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're really going to love this place because the guys at the bar, it's just like New York. They're drunk by the time you get in here. It's like when we used to work in New York City, the guys that were working the big skyscrapers, I was the guy, the pissant that went out and got them beer, and they were drinking beer at 8:45 in the morning. But
how about those folks on the top of the Empire State Building?
Wow, that was crazy.
Holy crap.
I was getting sick just watching them do that. So they should just let them out of jail. They don't really need to arrest them for anything. The whole proposal thing, I don't know if you guys saw that. The whole proposal thing was a fake. They were already married. Somebody called their dad in Russia, and they were already married. So it was still interesting to watch. So anyway, enough about the Russians. Let's talk about Americans. Big day tomorrow here, and we'll talk to Mike about that when he comes on the show. But first, we want to bring Frank up. Frank is the owner of BARunch, and we want to thank Frank and talk to Frank about his lovely establishment here. A big hand for Frank, everybody. Frank Kelly. Oh, wow.
Wow.
He's going to give a speech. So, Frank, you went all out, bro. You got a TV outside playing the show. It's like we've been doing this show on the beach for 8 years. Nobody's ever done that. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We are so thrilled to be here, and what a great welcome. Thank you guys so much.
What made you start a restaurant or a bar, or what made you get into this business?
I got into the business in New York.
Okay.
We did it for work. Down here, I came to move down here and go fishing. I got bored after 3 years, and now I'm still wondering why I got bored.
Yeah.
Do you still get to go fishing?
No. I look at my boat with a tear in my eye every day.
So how long has this place been open? And
This is January will be 3 years.
nice. And why do you like doing something like this?
I got to tell you, that Cape Coral has welcomed us with open arms. Everybody's been terrific with us. Everybody works with us. I just really enjoy seeing people happy. That's all.
Sweet. And what about your staff? Great staff here. Tracy's yelling at people all the time behind the bar.
Yeah, I'm afraid of her.
Yeah.
Well, she runs a tight ship, that's for sure.
Cool. Anything else? Frank?
No, I want everybody to have a great time, and we're very glad to have you here.
And tell us a little bit about when you're open and.
So we're just open from the weekdays, 9 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon, and then weekends from 9 to 4. We do a lot of events here. After the talk show radio, not tonight, but starting next week,
Right.
we'll go back to our dance night.
Top of the line.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for having us. We appreciate being here. Dear, you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. All right. Anything else, Frank?
All set. Thank
All
you.
right.
All right.
Big hand for Frank,
you.
everybody. All right. The reason you're all here is not to see us. It's to see Mike Ilczyszyn, the city manager here in Cape Coral. A lot of support here, a lot of fans.
So,
I have to say, you outdid our last crowd, Mike, for our last show at the last place. I forget the name of the place, but yeah.
This is like quite a group here.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you say? Yeah. So, Mike, we wanted to start out by you. What year were you born, and where did you live, and where did you grow up, and did you play sports as a kid? And clapping is allowed, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
we
feel
won't
free
have
to
you
clap.
escorted out. You can clap all you want.
Yes. So give us the history of I really wanted to hear about your service too.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and thank you for the crowd that showed up tonight. I got any World Cup fans here? But Ed, before we get this started,
Yeah.
USA, 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 USA.
Okay, Mike. Let's get. Come on.
Do you want to borrow my boots?
You guys, we'll start that chant tomorrow at about 2:45, right?
Oh, that we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we are. We got that in the plan. So tell us about your service, though. We had a chat once about it, and it was wicked impressive.
Okay, sure. So I grew up in Cape Coral. I went to Trafalgar Middle School, Mariner High School. Had a great time growing up here. There was not a lot to do back, pre-1990. And I'll tell you where we lived was off of BARnch Road, and it was a 2-lane road. There was no veterans. Pine Island Road wasn't a 4-lane road. Literally, we would leave school and either head north up Chiquita to Wilmington or Tropicana west to Old BARnch and bridge jump, swing trees, take our bikes out and out into the harbor and fish. We had to kind of like come up with our own things to do.
Sure.
But when I graduated from Mariner High School, I did join the United States Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your service, and to all who serve.
If you're a veteran, raise your hand. A lot of veterans here.
Wow.
Thank
Nice.
you all for your service. Thank you.
So when I joined the Navy, boot camp was in Great Lakes, Illinois, and then from there I was stationed in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It was a little base. It was 3 miles off the coast of Mississippi. The only way to get out there was to drive a car out to the base, and what I actually did was counter drug operations. And so we hear a lot about it now with a lot of things that are happening, in the world today. Same thing. I was doing the same thing. The only difference is we didn't have the authority to shoot them out of the sky with missiles.
When you see those bombs dropped on the boats now, do you think it's a good idea?
Well, all I could tell you is the intelligence that we had when I served. It was enough to read somebody's driver's license.
Wow.
From the intelligence, we knew who was getting on the boat, where the boat, what port it was leaving, where it was going to, where to intercept it, and I can only imagine what they have today. So there's no doubt in my mind they know what's on those boats.
Yeah.
So we're safe today.
Well, it's like a chess game. So as much as we know about them, they know about us. They're studying our military. They're studying us, and our ship could only go so fast.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the Caribbean, by the way, I was in the Central, South America, and the Caribbean. When you're committing to a vessel that has drugs, they know how far you can get before you can turn around and come back and get them. So we would be watching different things on radar. We'd commit and go to do one interdiction, and on the radar you'd see 30 or 40 boats leaving other ports. So it's a game.
So
it's
you
like
get
stomping. Yes.
You get out of the
whack-a-mole.
You get out of the military, and then what do you do? How do you get involved in city government?
Yeah, so I got out of the military, came home, and I was looking to go back to school. So in between, getting back to FGCU and going, from the Navy, I actually was doing windows, doors, siding, soffit, what else? Rough carpentry work, in the building trades. And I was out on Sanibel, and I was doing a house, putting in new windows and doors and siding. And I met a gentleman who was a chemist. And chemistry was always my favorite subject.
Oh, I love chemistry. I love it.
He can't even do math. There's no way you're doing chemistry.
She's got to always go with the insults. She does.
And
I mean, that's just the truth.
I had a really great conversation with him at lunch at his house out on Sanibel, and from that day forward, I never looked back. I got out of the trades. I put in an application to be a water treatment plant operator trainee. So basically like a laborer.
So the person at Sanibel was in politics, or just he was a chemist?
No, he was a chemist that I was working on his house.
Yeah. So how does chemistry and politics?
Wait a minute. When you were
I just
at
asked
FGC,
a question. Can you please let him answer my question before you ask another?
FGCU. What did you end up getting what were you studying there?
So I went to FGCU for environmental engineering, but I had already done 2 years of schooling prior to that. So in the military, you're able to take classes on the base, and also while you're deployed, they bring professors out on the ship. And so I had already taken a lot of my undergraduate classes. And so when I went to FGCU and met with the director of the newly formed engineering program, she told me, she said, you got two problems. The first problem is you're already ahead of where I'm trying to build undergraduate classes. Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, Chemistry 1, and I was.
That's calculus for those
Thank you very much.
listening here.
And so she said, you got two options. You can either wait for us to catch up for the senior level classes, or you can go get a degree in something else and then come back to us. And I didn't really want to wait, right? Yeah. So, I was ready to get moving. When I was on the ship, when you're on a ship, you see everything from the people that wash clothes to the people that, paint, all the way up to the captain, and then the captain reporting to, higher level officers. And, so, when I was there, I had a vision that, okay, I know where I want to be in life, right? It helped solidify. If I want to be there, I know I need to do some things. And so schooling wasn't even a choice, right? I had to come back and I had to go to school. Because when I went in the military, I didn't go to college first. So I went in without a degree. I went in enlisted. But while I was on the ship, I was Sailor of the Year. I made Sailor of the Year while I was on the ship. I got several Navy Achievement Medals. I was an enlisted surface warfare specialist. So you have to go through all of the systems on the ship: weapon systems, radar systems, water systems, sewer systems, propulsion systems. And I think really that training, even when I was still in my teens, really helped me where I am today. It helps me analyze all of the things related to municipal government from a total system perspective.
So we went from the chemist back to the ship. So how
so anyway, the chemist is the one that really had a conversation with me and brought me back to, what do you want to do? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And it just clicked. Went to school, put in the application to be a water treatment plant operator trainee, which is all wet water chemistry. So the job lined up with, something that I really enjoyed.
And then, so you get the job as, what's the first job that you got here?
Water treatment.
A wet water chemist.
Wet water chemist.
Water treatment plant operator trainee. So I made drinking water for the city.
Okay. So
it's better than dealing with sewer water, right?
So go through the process of how you, without it taking an hour, go through the process of how you become the city manager. Because I know there's a lot there, and we have a lot of questions.
So when I was at the water plant, as I was learning how to make water and do the things they do there, I thought, okay, I want to be the water superintendent, which was the gentleman who was in control of the maintenance, the operations. And so I was like, okay, when I finish my degree, that's what I'm going to, apply for. I had one of my mentors, who was the public works director at the time, the late Charles Pavlos.
What year are we talking about now? Take us. What year?
2007.
All right, 2007.
Yeah, I was 5 years in because I had, did my schoolwork. I was working nights, 3 to 11 on night shift. When I was doing that, I was going to school full time during the day and then coming to work at night, 3 to 11. But when you work for the city, one of the things that you have to do is you have to fill out an approval for school because it could create a conflict if you need to take a test, but you have to be on shift. And so my boss was seeing, all the courses I was taking, organic chemistry, biochemistry, all those things you love.
I love biochemistry.
And so, after about the second year, he called me up to his office and he said, and I didn't know at the time, but when I walked in his office, he was a naval officer. He was a CB. And so we immediately had a naval connection and started talking about some Navy things. But then he said, what do you want to do when you're done? And I was like, well, I think I want to be the water plant superintendent. And he goes,
I don't think I've ever heard anyone in my life say, when I grow up, I want to be the water plant superintendent. So was there a lot of competition for that job at the time? Or
I don't know, because
holy shit, there's 5 people that want this job.
I never made it. I never made it to that job.
Okay.
So what he said was that, he needed somebody that really was good in analyzing numbers and, could understand systems. And we had a discussion about me being an ESWAS recipient. And he said, when you're done, I'm going to pull you out of the water plant and I'm going to have you come work for me as the business manager for Public Works. So sure enough, when I finished my degree in 2007, I was on a shift. I didn't know, we had the discussion. I was on a shift and I went into a I couldn't start up the plant. There was something wrong. I couldn't get my pre-treatment pH down, stuff,
You're thinking Chernobyl right away. Things going to blow up.
pH requires math as well.
So I walk into the chemical room, full PPE on. I got, all my gloves, my boots, the pants.
Did you have these boots on?
They look like that. They look like that.
Like biohazard boots.
But they were able to deal with chemicals. I had a full face shield on.
Hope there are pictures of this somewhere.
I walk in the room and all of a sudden a line in the room busts.
Wow.
And I took a step back. It was 98% pure sulfuric acid.
Oof.
98%.
Wow.
And I looked down and I saw that it had hit like my pants, my jacket. It went up the face shield, and I didn't know, but as I'm looking down, I started to feel the whole back of my neck was burning.
It got through.
What happened was when it blew, the pressure hit the ceiling. The sulfuric acid hit the ceiling.
There's Ray Muleg.
Oh, that's a sign. That's a sign.
It's sulfuric acid, by the way. Take your pants off.
So the sulfuric acid was dripping down as I was trying to make sure I was okay on the front. It dripped down my whole back and my neck.
Yeah.
So I immediately pulled the shower. There was always 2 people on a shift.
Gotcha.
I'm in the room, completely stripped down, showers pouring down. At the time, I had a trainee.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on this story, but I have a feeling you guys will need to call home and say you're going to be late.
So anyway, he comes out. He's turns white as a ghost. He doesn't know what to do. And I'm through the door. I'm like, just call 911. Yeah. So I get taken to the hospital. My mentor, Chuck Pavlos, comes to the hospital and he says, "That's it. You're done at the plant. You're coming
getting
with
this
me."
job. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's how I made it up.
Just takes a little sulfuric acid bath and you're going to get a raise.
Is that one of the qualifications? You just have to get burnt.
No.
So you moved to the city manager.
So I moved. No, I moved. That's when I moved.
Oh, shit.
That's when I moved to Public Works Administration.
I got you.
So
how long were you in Public Works Administration?
And did you have to?
I was there from 2007 through 2010.
Okay. So 3 years.
3 years I was Public Works business manager. Now that's really when I got to really get involved with public safety, Parks and Rec, all the other departments. Because in public works, we do all they do. I'm not there anymore. They do all of the facilities maintenance. They do all the capital construction improvements. They maintain all the fleet, the fire trucks, the police vehicles. They do all the real estate acquisition, all the negotiations for leases and licenses. It's everything. It was sewer, water, it was solid waste, stormwater, streets, transportation. And so my job was to do the budget for all of that. At the time when I was there from 2007 through 2010, our 2008 budget, we had over 550 employees. It was the largest budget in the city. I think it was almost 500 million. It was our budget excluding capital was, wow, it was massive. And so that's when the Great Recession hit, and we can have a whole discussion about Great Recession.
Well, we don't have that much time, Mike.
Yeah.
We got to move on.
We'll have you back.
So Great Recession hits, and
well, I guess we're just going on.
Great. Yeah, we'll skip a lot, but Great Recession hits, and there was a change in council. And so instead of a growth council, we went to a austerity council. They wanted to run everything by the numbers. We wanted to look at how to cut every single thing. And we can talk about all the different ways we cut, because we were browning out fire stations. We were not responding to police officer, police were not responding to quality of life,
Like what kind of calls were they told not to respond to?
We browned out stations. We literally shut down fire stations.
Yeah.
Yeah. To cut shifts, to cut employees.
Wow, that's weird.
So we had that council hired a city manager who was literally only about the numbers. So he is the one, he broke up public works. So he made water and sewer its own department. And then it was basically what I call public works light. Mm-hmm. It was what was left. And he pulled me into the city manager's office because I knew the numbers. But it wasn't easy. For 2 months, him and I were like ships in the sea at night, passing in the sea. He wouldn't talk to me. And what happened was we were, I would put my calendar on the outside of my cubicle, and I would set meetings with him every Friday to try to let him know what I was doing, to make sure I was trying to accomplish his goal.
Yeah.
And actually what happened, my old boss, my mentor, Chuck Pavlos, who came back, who ended up leaving the city, he wanted to basically rebut a lot of things that were said about him. So I wrote like a 60-page thing for him. And he came back after like a 6-month, I think it was 6 or 3 month, he had a non-disparage clause in his separation agreement. So as soon as it was over, he came back and he read the entire, I think he read the document, or he got up and said, here's the answer to everything that you ever wanted to know about, public works and all the things you've heard. And the next day when I went to work, everybody in the office was like, he's mad, but he wants to see you.
Uh-oh. So
I go into his office, and, he's city manager sitting there, and I walk in and I said, sir, I heard you wanted to see me. And he had the document sitting on his desk, and he looks up at me and he says, who wrote this? Who wrote this? And I looked at him and I said, sir, I think you know who wrote it, but if you need to hear it, I did. And he sat and he looked at me and he said, I need this level of detail. I got to cut the water and sewer rates. He had a performance-based contract where he got bonuses based on everything he did. I need to cut the water and sewer rates. I want to cut the stormwater rates. So just like that, from a document that I wrote months earlier, he wouldn't talk to me, never wanted to know what I was doing. But once he found out that was that I wrote that on behalf of, at the direction of my mentor, that was it. And then I worked under him for 2 years. He left. We had an interim city manager who made me the business manager for the city. So now I went from business manager of public works to business manager of the city. He was there for about 1.5 years. Then we got my second mentor, who I call my operational father, John Zerlag, city manager, who is the longest serving city manager in Cape Coral history.
And how long was that?
Just at 8. I think it's just at 8 years.
8 years.
I still talk to him constantly, probably once a month.
What are you at now? How many years?
In the city?
Yeah, as the manager.
As the manager, I was February of 23. So I'm coming up on
4.
Coming up on 4. Yeah, I had an interim period in there.
Yeah.
So John was the one who basically, again, took me under his wing like Chuck did, and said, what do you want to do? And at that time, I thought when I worked in public works as the business manager, I thought, well, maybe I'll be the public works director. Now I'm in the city manager's office working for city managers. I'm like, well, I guess someday I'm going to be a city manager. And
here you are.
And you did it without having to roll around in sulfuric acid.
Yeah. So I went back to FGCU to finish earn a master's in public administration. And, during that time, I did have some troubles in my personal life. So I was sent back to public works as deputy. Spent some time back there, eventually became public works director. And then the city manager right before me promoted me to public works director. And then when he left, I was promoted to city manager.
All righty.
So it's been a journey.
Yeah. And so total, how many years? Did you already say that? Working for the city now, 2007?
No, I started in 2002. December will be 25.
Gotcha. So
wow.
On to the topics.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a ride.
Yeah. And so let's start with some of the questions. One of the criticisms that you hear from some people is that the salary is too high. You get paid too much money. And one of the things they're going to try and cut is your salary if they get in there. You have some research about that you were telling us about.
Well, what I was telling you was that, when I was asked, the mayor was directed to negotiate my contract. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it was a directive of council to bring all of our employees from the top to the bottom to the 75th percentile. So I went out and had one of the staff members in our office contact all of the other top 10 cities in the state. And we put together a 75th percentile. But in addition, we pulled all their contracts so that we could look at every component, whether it's severance pay, leave, benefits, vehicle allowance. And the numbers, when you do something like that, it's just arithmetic. The number falls out. It is what it is. So where it landed, the 75th percentile was 295. The mayor, when he came in and he said, well, I was thinking more at the time for interim, I was making 250. He said, I was thinking more like, 255. And I said, well, that's what he said, and I said, all right, well, here's what the numbers show. And basically he said, all right, well, this is your first time being a city manager, even though I had been in the office as the assistant city manager, acted in the city manager's stead when he went away. We basically split the baby between 295 and 255 was 275.
Okay.
So but it helps let's set the picture about Cape Coral.
Let's set the table.
There are just over 19,000 cities in the entire United States of America. 19,000. There are only 10 that have 1 million population or more. There are only 348 that have a population between, I think it's 100,000 and 999,000. Mm-hmm. The city of Cape Coral in the entire United States ranks 99th in population size.
Okay.
The city that I am serving, humbly, all the residents here and all of the businesses, Frank's business and all the other ones, we are in the top 1/2 of 1% in size. There are not many other people that have served a city of this size. On top of that, we have a CRA. Not every city has a CRA. We have a fire department. Port St. Lucie, our sister city on the East Coast, has a municipal fire district. It's Port St. Lucie Fire District. They don't have a fire department. A lot of cities don't have police departments. Right. They use the sheriff. Mm-hmm. There's only 2 cities in the entire state that have a municipal charter school. A lot of people.
Is that Jennifer?
No, it was Gloria.
Gloria.
We have the most miles of canals in the entire world. We have the most lane miles of road in Florida of cities. We have 25% of all the bridges in the state.
Okay.
There's no comparison to Cape Coral to a lot of other cities, except for about 0.5% of the other cities. But they're not a geographic size. We're the third largest by size.
And on top of all of that, how many employees are you managing?
The budget and the total budget?
Just at 2,000.
2,000.
And that's full time. We have seasonal that come in like in the summer for camps. And the salary is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
If you were to take my salary, I'm
I'm
going to take you back.
What is your salary, by the way? What is the base salary?
I think it's 330. 330.
So how did it get?
If you need any help with that,
that's what I want to talk about. So
you're totally underpaid, by the way.
My last evaluation, I did not want an increase.
Yeah, I was sitting there.
I've been telling my council in the community for the last 2 years, this year that we're coming into FY27, we were likely to see a millage rollback rate that was actually going to be higher and not decrease.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking, and some of my key personnel staff know this. I had asked them to give me a lump sum bonus. And the reason I was doing that was because I wanted to lead by example. It is likely that we may not be able to give raises next year.
Mm-hmm.
Giving a one-time lump sum, bends the cost curve for all future salaries and all your roll-up benefits. All I said was, take the revenue that you would normally give, put some into my health, pay my health benefits, pay my vision, my dental, and the rest give me one time. Now the stuff that goes into benefits, it's taxed. The city doesn't pay taxes on it. I was actually put forward something that was going to save the city money, and we couldn't get there.
So Mike, how did you talked about you and the mayor were negotiating two different numbers that didn't want the 330 didn't come into that conversation. How do we wind up at 330?
Oh, well, it's been 3 years of raises.
Oh, okay. It was 3 years ago. Gotcha.
It's not like when you were negotiating your first salary that you got whatever you said you wanted. It was a negotiation.
I never ever said any number that I wanted. All I did was bring him the data that showed what the 75th percentile was for the top 10 largest cities in Florida. And we went from there.
And so it compares to the others is what you're saying.
Yeah. And last year when I had my evaluation, the Port St. Lucie city manager had just done an analysis, and he put out data. And so I brought that so they could see that, where they were. So all of these things are all done with data and analysis. There's no
right.
And that's information that the city has that is,
I brought it for you.
Thank you.
I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So we can,
let's move
have
on.
it and
let's move on from the salary. I'm actually tired of hearing
Wait,
about
I have one more point about this.
All right.
If you look at when I started back in early 2000 and you bring inflation all the way forward from them to now.
Yeah.
Okay. I am making no more. The city manager back then was making, I think, 175,000. That's equivalent to a 320,000+ salary today.
Right.
I am making no more than Terry Stewart was making when I first started.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead. You up?
And we all know how inflation affected the UEP. So we're
going
all
there
good
first.
with that.
Hey, listen, people feel inflation. They know it. They go to the gas pump.
But
a lot of people don't understand what it means. If we get into anything about tax reform or next year's budget, I'm going to explain to you about how it is affecting our budget.
Let's start with the UEP, if we could.
Yeah. I'm not poking fun at that. I'm saying.
Well, you brought it up, so
that is a relevant reason why the prices are up, and so for folks to not think that that's what it is. That's what it is.
Is there anything that the city is doing wrong or could be doing better to get the UEP cost at approximately $40,000 now to $15,000? And I bring up that number for a specific reason because there are people out there that are saying that they can do that. Can that possibly be done?
I mean, that's like a 66% cut, right? You're talking 15 to 30 to 45 for. So here's what I know about the UEP. And so when I served under the city manager that wanted to do everything by the numbers, he by the way, he stopped all purchases over $5,000. If you wanted to spend $5,001, you had to come into the city manager's office and say why you had to spend $5,001. I mean, I can do. Well, we'll get into that anyway. UEP. They brought in a group of residents. There was a citizen-led UEP board to try and find ways to cut. We went to Port St. Lucie. We went to St. Petersburg. We went to Sarasota. We did all kinds of analysis. We looked at grinder systems. We looked at vacuum systems, shallow gravity systems, all probably things engineering related that mean probably not a lot to, but when you talk about bringing water and sewer to somebody's home other than a septic, there's different ways to collect that sewage, and all of them have pros and cons. So for example, the reason we chose the system that we chose is because we need to redo all the roads in the north. And before when this whole thing started, even in the south, they were built with shale roads. They were insufficient. They would crack up, and as a kid, you'd run down the road and you'd be bleeding from your feet. Your bicycle would run through tires like every month. Mm-hmm. So part of the idea of the type of system we have, just one of the reasons, is because by putting a gravity system in, you go down the center of the road, and that's where your manholes are. But if you go in the Southeast Cape, there are areas that have the sewers in the swales. The problem with those are, now that could reduce the cost from being in the road, but now you have I. Every time it rains and the swales fill up with water, if you got a bad manhole, you're taking all that water and you're sending it through for treatment. So we looked at a vacuum system. A vacuum system also goes in the swale, and it works just like a pump. The problem with that was during hurricanes, if your neighbor's tree breaks,
I don't mean
everybody past that, Mike, sewer doesn't work.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think Gloria and Joe described it as much in the weeds as I could go with my eyes rolling in the back of my head about all that stuff. But so is there
cut? All right, so you want specifically to cost. So all things being equal, let's say labor is this. You need labor, right?
I think so.
Can the city do the labor? Okay.
You need pipes. You need fire hydrants. You need manholes. You need lift stations.
Sure.
No matter who does it,
right?
All that cost is that cost. Okay. So if labor is labor, let's just say it's on par. You need the equipment. You need rock crushers, earth movers, excavators. You need all these things.
Sure.
Whether we do it or the private sector does it. So what are you going to cut to try and get a 66%? What you end up cutting is what the government can control, which is scope. Instead of putting a fire hydrant every 250 feet, put it every 500 feet. So now you have less fire hydrants. Now the operations, it takes longer for a firefighter to respond to your home. They're dragging hoses down 500 feet. If you want to cut the road, you don't have to repave the road with 1.5 inches. You can maybe you do 1 inch. You can cut quantities, but the project is the project.
Can any city employees do any of the work?
So we can do water, and we did that. And there's a state statute out there. Anytime a municipality wants to do a public works project, it has to be brought forward to public in a public meeting, and the entire books of that project that the city wants to do has to be made public for the private sector to look at. And it takes a majority of council to vote on whether or not to do it in-house. We did that. We had an agreement off of Del Prado. We actually were bringing water in from a utility in North Del Prado. And we had a development agreement that we basically were paying them impact fees. But if we got off of their water, we would get a refund. But every year that went by, we were losing 10% of that. So over 10 years, we would have lost the reimbursement. So we did an analysis that basically, said, if we don't do it next year, we're going to be on the losing end of this deal. We actually, our utility crews It was a 16-inch water line. We put together a budget with in-house engineers and showed we could do it. We brought it to council. Council agreed. We ended up doing it. Now that is a 16-inch water line, probably 3 to 5 feet underground. So we can do water lines. We've done them down Trafalgar. What we can't do is the sewer. And that's the big thing. So you're talking 20, 30 feet.
So you don't have the staff that you have now. It's not feasible in terms of what you have, in terms of people and in terms of equipment to do that, to bring it in-house.
No, I don't know if you've ever seen a UEP, but there are hundreds, there are like 300 employees, like 7 contractors. First of all, my utilities crew isn't even big enough to, if I pulled everybody off of utilities and trained them up for a year or two, then who's servicing the customers?
Gotcha.
But we don't do lift stations. We don't do master pump stations. We don't do deep excavation. Anytime we have an emergency repair and a deep excavation, we outsource it.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the trench boxes. You're talking 2-layered trench boxes.
I know.
This is
two-layered, dear. 2-layer.
I mean, this is a level of expertise.
Yeah.
That when you're doing this,
so Mike, so some of the work can be done by the water can be done by the city employees if that came to that, and you save what?
Not at 2 square miles.
I got you. All right. So
what I'm saying is I have confidence and I have faith in my staff that I know they can run water lines, sewer lines.
But then do they have, who does the job that they're doing now if they have to go do this?
No,
You'd have to hire
one or
more
the
people.
other. Yeah, I'm either outsourcing their job or outsourcing the UEP.
So is the answer to
if you want to keep the amount of employees stable?
Is the answer to the question as far as you're concerned? No, you can't do it.
I would never say that. It would tell me time.
Well, if you would never say it, how can you do it?
I can do anything council directs me. Time and money.
So if council directs you to take the UEP cost from 40 to 15, how would you do it?
Now that he can't do.
That's why I ask. I'm asking if it could be done.
If you look,
I'm sorry, you're not an engineer.
With extra money and
you don't know
extra
chemistry
staff.
You look at the last bid, North 1 West, and just look at the cost of the pipes, all the material, and you tell me. You can't cut that unless you want to. I mean, what are you going to do? Skip homes?
You're asking me. I'm asking you. I just wanted a clear answer. That's all.
Okay.
The answer is no for the most part, or
no. I would cut the roads. You'd have sand roads.
All
we'd
right,
move the
project would be different.
If you want to do the project we have today,
I got you.
The way we have done the UEP, that's the cost.
Can you spread the cost out to the residents that have already paid for it? And hey, listen, I don't want to have to.
I'm so glad you asked that question and not me.
I don't want to have you all removed from this meeting.
And this is why we live in America.
Yeah.
So you already have your answer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
but that
wouldn't be fair. It totally wouldn't be fair.
If you were to, that isn't the way that we fund the UEP is through an assessment. It's a specific benefit to a property.
Sure. And
that benefit then is fairly and equitably apportioned. We could, which we do when we get grants.
Yes, yeah, I got grants.
We take a portion of what would otherwise be assessed and we fund it from another revenue source.
Yeah.
There has been discussions throughout the years about bringing general fund revenue into the project, bringing in grant revenue. But what you just heard is what I've heard my 24 years of career. The people that have already paid theirs don't want to pay again.
Well, it wouldn't be fair, and I can't even think that would be legal. Lastly, on the UEP.
No, and people that bought up there, they knew when they bought up there that.
I just bought a house in the north, and I know that if I stay there long enough, my turn in the barrel's coming.
Yeah.
But I have 2 kids. I'm a single dad, raised my kids full time, and I wanted a house that my kids could have a big enough. So I put more money in the house than one that already had assessments and sewers paid. So
the last question about the UEP, I totally forgot what it was. I had a great question that I was going to ask you about that, but I've totally forgotten.
How long is it going to take to do all of the Cape? And how much pipe is going to have to be laid?
I've said this before in a council meeting. If
you like that,
if you took the amount of miles of pipe that went in the ground just in North 1 West, which was 2 square miles, okay, we have about 45, 50 square miles left to go. And extrapolate that out.
I'll be dead.
Do the math.
We would have to run utility lines from Cape Coral through Maine into Canada.
That's a big pipe.
That's how much more pipe has to go in the ground.
It's like an Alaskan pipeline there.
What and this is what I try to tell residents is if the task is to speed it up and just use that, let's run with that analogy. I could hire an engineering firm in every state to design their state's portion of that line. The problem becomes getting the amount of underground contractors.
Yeah.
There's not enough.
Right,
and so the limiting factor is the underground contractors.
So what year will it be done? 20 more years you got till it's all done?
Could be, unless we find a way
you do it faster
to bring in a program manager, which our council has agreed with, someone that it's basically an outsourced arm of the government that basically does the design, the bidding, the construction management, hires all the firms. They can bring in national underground contractors.
Yeah, and I did remember the question, and then we'll move on. So you didn't get any revenue from the state; they were stingy on that for the UAP. I know you got money, money.
We didn't get any this year, and we just learned. I just got an email from our lobbyists this week that the legislature didn't appropriate funds for that grant again next year.
Yeah,
but the previous year, we got the single largest grant ever for UEP. It was $25 million.
Yeah. So is there any other possibility of grants coming in, or is that it?
Oh, we are always going after grants for the UEP because we know every dollar that comes in for the UEP is a dollar that does not have to come from the residents.
Okay. So Fort Myers Beach got the Army Corps of Engineer peers, and they were jumping for joy this past week. And of course, the question came: where's Cape Coral's permit for the yacht club up here? And you didn't get yours. So what is the status of that?
So if you look at, we had this discussion publicly with council at our last, I think it was right before we went on, council went on hiatus. Our project manager over the project speaks regularly with the Army Corps reviewer, and he said to myself and the council, Fort Myers Beach is next, and then we're up after them. So it wasn't a surprise to us that Fort Myers Beach was getting theirs. We knew. Fort Myers Beach submitted their permit in April of 25 for their pier. We submit ours in May of 25. So if we get our permit next month, it took us no longer than it took Fort Myers to get theirs.
So you're expecting yours next month?
I'm hoping I can get it next. I would like to get it next week.
And if you get it next month, how long before the pier groundbreaking, and how long before the pier is built so the residents can get back out there?
Get your crystal ball out.
Approximately.
Well, we already have a construction manager firm on board.
Okay.
So all they need to do is bid it and award it, and we'll bring it to council, the costs, and now we'll get reimbursed from FEMA. So as quickly as possible.
And so residents know it's 100% reimbursed because you're putting
back what we had,
and that's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, we are not expanding the scope, not expanding the size.
Okay, so because I know people are going to ask how much of the taxpayer is going to pay for it, but FEMA's paying you for what you put back, and you're not like the Fort Myers Beach pier is like 1,000 feet longer, and it's a way different pier, and they got TDC money, but it sounds like you're putting back what you had there. So, all right. So while we're on the yacht club, let's talk about the yacht club. What's going to be built there, Mike?
Well, right now the seawall's going in, and I was there yesterday, and they're going gangbusters. I wouldn't say they're probably about 80% done. Driving the piles, then they got to put the seawall cap in, and then most recently, council authorized basically a phase 2, which was a downscoped, instead of building everything, was the infrastructure, the roads, the stormwater, the fire lines. Necessary for future build out of the site. right now, and the beach amenity. So we're going to expand the beach and put some walkways in.
And the boathouse, of course. Do you know when the boathouse is going to be open for business? Has Zach told you that? Is Zach talking to you anymore?
No, Zach. So Zach, I talked to Zach. Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Of course.
I'm kidding.
It's funny, it's like you hear about the city's fighting with the Kearns Group, and it's like
business is business.
Yeah, no, so he cannot get started until the seawall is done, and unfortunately, the portion where his restaurant is going to go on our property, we had to delay that piece because of small 2 sawfish. So it's unfortunately almost the last.
It's like the turtles on Fort Myers Beach. You can't really do anything.
You got to preserve those guys.
So
it's an endangered species.
Any idea what we're looking at before it's open?
No, I don't.
All right. So,
I know he's wrapping up design.
No. I wanted to ask you, so the future of the yacht club. There's no money there to build the gigantic thing that was presented. Do you feel like sometimes that you can't get clear direction from the 8 council members, that they don't really know what they want? They don't really know how to fund the yacht club, and so it's just basically out there now.
Well, it's interesting because and I've heard
it now?
Because I've heard things about one-on-ones and different. My staff. I don't do social media. My staff tells me what's going on out there, and I get direction from council. It's a constant feedback loop with the council. I have one-on-one meetings with them. That's one form. I get phone calls. I speak to them before I come into the office, after I come in the office, on the weekends. I speak to them in the meetings. So I'm constantly trying to figure out. And we didn't get into the difference between a city manager and a council, but my role is to be up and out. I've got directors, and I saw a few of them here. Thank you very much for all my employees that came to support me.
Thank you. So back to the question.
My job is to be up and out.
I don't know what that means.
Looking outwards, outside of the organization, and how do we move the city upwards, forward, progress.
Fair enough. So
I got department heads that are down and in.
All
They're
right.
digging in. They're running their day-to-day. Okay. So it's my job to figure out where I can get, where do I see consensus? I've got a 4-4 council.
Yeah.
My job is to find out where do I have to take the organization to go to get to the 5th vote? Because without it,
Mike,
we're going nowhere.
That's a great way to let me try and ask my question a different way. What is the direction that you feel you've gotten from the 8 council members right now on the yacht club?
Infrastructure. Put in the basics to prepare for the future. Somebody else in future council will deal with what gets built, when it gets built, and how it's funded. Right now, it's build the infrastructure, get the basics in place.
No community
And how much
center.
is that going to be?
It's already.
I don't have it.
Yeah. And so no community center, no parking garage, no pool until further notice.
No. And listen, I want to tell you, I tell this to my Parks and Rec director all the time. It breaks my heart that we don't have a pool. It breaks my heart that we don't have, indoor sports courts and performing arts center. I hear about all these quality of life issues. We don't have a BMX. Our BMX park used to have a trailer that was destroyed in Ian. Think about this. Ian was in September of 22. We're coming up, right, in 26. If you were a 9-year-old or a 12-year-old that wanted to have birthday parties at the pool or the skate park, they're coming up to their teens where they're getting ready to start driving.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. I feel for the kids in the community because they want things to do. And every time one of them gets taken away, it's even less that they can do here growing up. And I know what that felt like growing up here.
Gotcha. All right. So we wanted to ask you about JC Park. Did JC Park turn out the way you wanted it to? And can you explain all the standing water, please?
Okay. Here we go again with the way I wanted it.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way.
My job is not to determine what we want.
I meant according to the
my
plan,
job is to carry out what the council wants. And that's how I become the face of when residents are either for or against anything, any policy. My administration and me become the target because it's our job in the face of the opposition to get it done and get it done as fast and as efficient as possible. And I understand that. No doubt about it. No different than when I was in the military, or any of the soldiers who are serving today, if they're told to go do something that half our country may not like, they're going to get it done.
So on the J.C. Park thing, when there was all that opposition, did you think, man, I better advise the council that this might be a bad idea? There's a wicked big group, or you just sit back and let the council figure out whether that's a big enough objection? When we were going through J.C. Park and designing it, there was support for J.C. Park. There was some citizens who opposed the elimination of the trees, but for the most part, the council was on board with moving forward. They were, and what we were trying to figure out was how big to make the band shell. Does the restaurant have alcohol or not? Is there docks? Is there not docks? But there wasn't really a giant debate. There were smaller debates about the amenities within. But by and large, the council we were moving forward. I mean, certain council members were willing to say, I'm not going to vote for this if there's alcohol, or I'm not going to vote if the band shell's too big. I had one council member who wanted a shade study. So we had to do a shade study. It takes listening. It takes listening to the elected officials and understanding what their needs are and where they want to go and putting the plan together to get there.
Well, now there's not going to be alcohol at J.C. Park. There's not going to be what's going to go in there. What do you think is going to happen?
Why do you say there's not going to be alcohol?
Well, I mean, right away.
Oh, yeah, there won't be right away.
There's not going to be anything right away.
So can you kind of explain, the Kearns group seemed like they were getting ready to sign a deal. And I just felt like, sorry about the council members, I just felt like the council negotiated that deal away. They kept picking and picking and picking. And then the Kearns group finally said, well, we've had enough of this. And there was nobody else. There wasn't a second or a third to go to. And now you have an empty building and no food trucks. And
all right, but like me, I trust every one of my all 8 of them. I believe every day that they sit on that dais that they are voting in what they think is the best interest of our community. No matter what's driving that. And you get into different, whether it's quasi-judicial or legislative, but when it's a legislative item, they can choose whatever they want to value to make their vote. Mm-hmm. During the impact fees, I had a running joke with Councilwoman Lehman about, if you see someone in the audience that has purple socks, you could value their input because they have purple socks more than anybody else. So I trust and I believe that every council member and every council candidate that runs wants to do the best for our community.
Okay.
So when it went back to them a third time, there was not consensus to approve the contract. But what happened on the other side is you had a private sector business. Unlike me, I invest my money in stock market mutual funds. When you have a business like Frank here, or you have a restaurateur, they want to reinvest their money in restaurants. They need to generate profit on the thing they like. So in the 6 months that we like and generates a return on equity. So in the 6 months that we were back and forth with Zach 3 different times, he opened 3 different restaurants. He inked 3 deals. So he was able to put his equity to work somewhere else and immediately start generating a return on equity. He didn't see an end with us. And so he decided it was best to use his capital, his dry powder, put it to work somewhere else that has a known product with a known return. J.C. Park is not a known animal. Nobody knows what it's going to generate. He believed that it could hit a certain number and could be very profitable, but he doesn't know.
So do you have any interest in that building now? And is the city going to step in and put food trucks in? So there's something.
I have no proposals for JC Park at this time. No, there's no, not that none that's come in. If there are certainly business owners out there who have requested to see what was the last deal or all three deals to kind of get a gauge of where we might go, but nobody submitted anything.
And so what about the food truck? You got 6 or 8 ready to roll there for somebody to just wheel up. Is there anything going in there?
Well, food truck. So we put out for food trucks at the yacht club.
No,
we wanted to get food trucks to the yacht club. We got, I think, a gelato and a smoothie food truck.
I don't even know what gelato is.
It's like Italian ice cream.
It is?
Yeah.
No food trucks, huh?
Food.
I'm not an ice cream person. Hey,
Italian.
can you do something about Councilman Lehman? Like fine her every time she doesn't turn her microphone on during the council meetings. Gosh, everybody's got to tell her to turn the microphone on during the meetings. We want to hear what she has to say. So is there any active proposals for the yacht club that you can talk about? I forgot to ask about that.
I can't talk about them because they came in under unsolicited P3,
Okay.
but I can confirm that we have 2.
Okay, cool. Can you also put to
Is
rest?
that in the cone of silence?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you also put to rest why the restrooms are $4 million?
Why the restrooms $4 million? Look at the ones that are being built around. It is not. First of all, the restroom has to be, I think, 12 feet in the air.
Yeah.
So you have to build all the ADA ramps, all the access points, but it's not on the diagram. It's labeled a beach restroom. It's actually 2 restroom facility, two. If you want to look at it this way, $2 million restrooms.
Okay.
The ones that face north are going to be separated to serve the pool. The ones that face south are the ones that are going to be outward facing on the beach. So it's actually 2 facilities in one.
So maybe you don't
When
need
they
to
get a pool.
with the
Yeah,
pool
if you
not
don't
being
get the
in there.
pool.
Well, it depends.
Can you just build one?
It depends. No, it's designed as one structure.
Okay.
But there is
Is
the fence comes into the middle of it.
All right. So why does the city hate the rowing club?
Oh my God. Can I get a word in?
Well,
What was his question?
What's going on with the rowing club is the more accurate question.
This is like the recall on the beach. Nobody wants to talk about
Yeah,
it anymore.
is. Oh, well,
I don't
Sandra
have
does.
listen, again, going back to the role of council and setting policy and setting the direction. Right now, it's 4-4. So it's my job to help them figure out where a solution lies. And so what I was tasked with doing was bringing back options. I could tell you what we're doing. I've told my council. I had Public Works do a GIS analysis of all of the longest canals chains in row length in the city, and we numbered them 1 through 10. So we got the 10 longest rowing areas in the city. Because I was tasked with doing this, I also went to Nathan Benderson Park, which is up in Sarasota. I spoke with the U.S. rowing team. I spoke with a coach, a Harvard coach. I spoke with the USF rowing club who won the tournament, the Big Ten tournament that was when I was there that weekend. I spoke to our Cape Coral rowing club coach, and I spoke with the manufacturer that made the docks. I got to gather information. So I put together all of the minimum requirements that you need to be successful. Length of rowing, minimum width of a canal, water so that if somebody, gets dehydrated, can be rinsed off, the boat can get rinsed off, electric so you can charge the Cox boxes and the batteries, put together all of the things that are needed.
All right.
It's a list of
Storage.
And then what we did was we ranked all of these canals based on the number of those amenities that are needed to be successful. And we're going to be presenting to council. Here's the 10 or 12 options that have, the longest canal. And here's the ones numerically that meet the most items. I don't know what count. I'm only tasked with bringing them options. My job is to pull the data together.
And there's a chance Tropicana could come out as the number one option.
I've said that when I spoke to our rowing coach about that, I said, you need to be prepared
because you don't have
that
any
if Tropicana Park comes out as number one, you still have a 4-4, so you may not go there. Like,
So
it's also my job to be a realist
Sure.
and make sure that when
Right.
I'm getting information, I'm not giving somebody a false hope, and I'm also not over promising something that I can't promise. It's not my decision.
So, Mike, the city basically built docks for the rowing club and then decided down the road they didn't want the storage. So we're here now. And now you're putting in all these other man hours to do this extra work and all this taxpayer money into this extra work. What happens if you find one that they like and then you're going to build them new docks and spend more money? I mean, how much more money are you going to spend on? I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's 40 people. It's not 200,000 people. It's not a JC Park.
You're describing the republic we live in.
I am. Thank you.
That is what happens
Yeah.
every election.
Yeah.
No, our republic, our democratic republic.
Yeah.
Every single election, things are tested and challenged.
Yeah.
I tell my staff all the time, if any of them that are here, it's just policy. Don't get wrapped around the axle on policy, because council enacts policy,
And then
they
change. Yeah.
they amend it, and they can abolish it. Whatever is done under this council immediately in November could be abolished, amended, or they could create new. It's
Okay.
just life in our democratic republic.
Or they could take another vote and wind back in Tropicana Park, and you wasted all this time on Plan B.
And that is
Yeah.
our American system.
Yeah.
And that is what's great about it.
You happy, Ray? We're moving on. Did you? What? Yeah.
Did the
Does anybody in the
they
audience have a
consider
question?
the
We
river-
don't need to ask all the questions, but if anybody in the audience, our nephew is going to ask you a question. Go ahead.
What,
Jim.
oh, you got it. What is this?
Yeah, we
I got
we
notes.
It's
be
like
I
a
got
little
notes.
black book. You got like a
Well, I
secret
know, I
list of
just wanna-
questions.
You're an important person.
No, there's
Mike.
some. So I'm going to bring up some things just to clear the air on some things that have been said in the past. So when it comes to committees, to citizens committees, there's been a comment that was made that you did not like oversight, and that's why committees might be gone. Now, you do not have it's not in your purview
It's not.
to disband committees.
It's
Is
not-
that correct?
It's not my decision at all. Council could come together tomorrow and establish 45 committees. My role at that point is ministerial. I would have to create the agenda. I would have to publish the agenda. I would have to take minutes. We would have to schedule the meetings, set the room up for all the recording. It's a ministerial role. Council boards and commissions have nothing to do with us.
And you don't have a feeling one way or the other about them. You're fine with them. You're fine without them.
No, I will. Here's my feeling about boards and committees is it is the way for the residents to have input. The issue that happens, what ends up becoming is boards and committees can get hijacked. And so you wind up, and when you have and that really falls on the council liaison, if they even appoint one to the committee, is to keep that board and committee in line with whatever they set them up to accomplish, right? So if we have an affordable housing committee, if that affordable housing committee starts talking about transportation, it would be up to somebody to say, you're
That's
out of
not in your purview.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens is, because we are creating public records, we're taking minutes and recordings. We're creating public records that then, if somebody starts hijacking them and starts putting things on the record that are not accurate, I don't have a whole bunch of staff that are sitting around going to them. Now we have to find, how do we correct that misinformation? And then, so then what we have is a council member will ask for, hey, this committee said this, is this accurate? And then we do that. But whether or not to have one is completely up to council.
All right,
And
well,
like I said, we had a UEP committee. Oh, by the way, all of those committees, with the exception of the budget committee, they still exist. They're a stakeholder group under us. But the beauty of those are, we don't have the minutes. What I do with my department heads is we publish every quarter, every meeting of a stakeholder group, we publish it online so that people can see what they talk about. It's a summary. We don't need a recording secretary in there. We don't need the agenda. We don't need all the minutes. We're getting the same thing accomplished, the same input from the residents at a more efficient manner, which is what I believe is my job, is to deliver the services at the cheapest cost.
All right. What was the other one that you had taken notes for?
So the other one was, do you have one-on-one meetings with council members?
Every week,
Okay.
every single week,
And so
unless they cancel.
But you do it one-on-one, or do you bring a group? Because somebody was on the show that
Rachel
said,
was on the show and said you wouldn't meet with her one-on-one.
Well, I don't know the context.
You want me to play the clip?
No, I don't need you to play the
Good,
clip.
because I don't have it.
So, when new council members get elected, I host a new council orientation, and I deliver a packet to them that explains how my office works with council members, and it deals with everything from emails that they send me, phone calls, information requests, basically lay out everything, one-on-one meetings, records requests. I mean, I go through just about everything. And in the policy that I deliver to them, it says that I will generally bring Maureen, who is my assistant to the city manager, who I'm mentoring to be the next assistant or city manager. You okay with that, John? And I bring the city attorney. Now, that is how I meet with all of the city council members.
Okay.
I bring those two people with me. If there is something on the agenda, like a debt issuance, or if there is something that is on there like a widening of a road or the UEP, and it is becoming an issue that we see in our office, that is, we're getting a lot of attention from residents, getting a lot of attention, emails from council, then I will bring the subject matter expert who is down and in on that item to the one-on-one. We spend about 5 or 10 minutes so that the council member can get all their questions answered or their requests for information in, and then they leave. And then it's just the city attorney and my assistant. So that is the policy. That is who comes. And occasionally I do bring in people, but for the most part, they're only there for the first 5 or 10 minutes, unless there's some lengthy discussion. I don't know. I mean,
okay.
All right.
Do you want to?
I was wondering.
End
Look,
with the
I thought
flag?
somebody had a question. No, we have to talk about the property tax reform.
Do you have a question?
Oh yeah. Come on down. Before we by applause, who's going to vote? Oh, okay. Who's going to vote for property
She's gonna
tax
be first,
reform?
and then we'll go
Anybody is going to vote? Clap if you're going to vote for property. Oh wow! In Fort Myers Beach, it's insane. I think that's because these are all your people and they don't want to vote for it. Sorry about the skipping. I didn't go in the right order.
That's funny because that's my question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
How do you think that this homestead referendum is going to affect this city?
Great question. I think he knows the answer to that.
and are you presuming it's passing or are you presuming it's failing?
100% it's passing.
I want to set the groundwork on this discussion before we get into it, because I think
Alright.
it's important our residents know a few things, and I had to put this together. So
It's all right. Need a bathroom break or anything, Mike? Or
No.
All right.
no.
By the way, big thank you again to Rocket
There's
Health
just
for-
numbers here because
Rocket Health for being a sponsor of our show. We appreciate them. Please check them out. Check them out online if you would like to stay alive. I think that'd be a good thing for you guys to use people from New York. I know you don't have
So-
much time on the clock here.
I've been saying now for 2 years
Yeah.
that there will be something on the ballot. I have been serving this community for 24 years, and I see that every non-presidential election, there's some property tax reform that gets put on there. It's a way to get people to the polls. Now, only once I think in my career has it not passed, but for the most part, they do pass. So in the setup of getting to where we're at, we had a few things that are being said about the city of Cape Coral and municipal governments across the state. And the comparison continues to be from 2020 to 2025, right? How much revenue the municipalities have. And so I just want to lay out a few facts.
Are those readers?
Yes.
How old are you?
Hurricane Ian.
How old are you? 40?
Hurricane Ian, I worked almost 50, I don't even remember, straight.
So
He
you
went
lost your
blind.
eyesight. Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you get those glasses?
I found them
at
in the
Flea
parking
Ma-
lot.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe
Nice.
at Flea Masters, I thought. Man, I was
Oh,
at Flea Masters once.
dear.
Wow, that was a different place. I love it.
Go ahead.
They have
Mike.
readers
right.
there.
So 2020 to 2025 is the era that we, the municipalities, keep being accused of generating ginormous amounts of money. All right, so I'm going to start with Florida, the state of Florida. All right, the population in 2020 was 21.7 million in the state of Florida. The population today is 23.46. The state's population has grown 8%. Their budget in 2020 was 92.2 billion.
The state's budget.
The state's budget. Their budget today is 115 billion based on the appropriation that was approved. The governor's was actually a little higher. That's a 25% increase. They had an 8% increase in growth and a 25% increase in their budget. Their state budget grew 3.12 times faster than their population, a 312 increase over their population. But we keep hearing that the state has decreased spending.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they doing with the money? If their budget is growing, where's the money going? They have $15.7 billion in a budget stabilization reserve and $4.9 billion in a rainy day fund.
Man, I want that rainy day account.
Get nicer
So-
boots.
They're not
Yeah.
they're not adding more services.
Yeah.
They're putting the money, they're paying off debt early, which is a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And they're building their reserves. Fair, right? But look at the state agencies that are around. We need money to widen Pine Island Road,
Yeah.
DOT.
Burnt
Can we-
Store Road.
Mhm.
And so our residents are clamoring for more services, but we can't get it. It's going to reserves and it's going to buy down debt. I would love to see some of this money put to work for our residents. Now, in Cape Coral, the opposite, the total opposite of the state. Our population in 2020 was 194,000. Today, it's 236,000. That's a 22% increase in population. Now, remember, the whole entire state had an 8%.
Mhm.
We had a 22%. Our budget in 2020 was 850 million. Today, and I'm going to say it's $1.5 billion, and I'm going to tell you why. Our budget's actually 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
400 million of that budget is one-time capital expenses for the UEP. We have 238 or 48 million in UEP. We've got 56 million in a water plant expansion, $53 million in a wastewater plant expansion, and another 13 million in other
Which gets it to 2 billion.
well,
right?
you take that
Look at you.
406 million
Yeah.
away from the
Right.
1.5 because it's not recurring costs. All right?
so you're saying when that's
just
spent,
over
it
$1 billion.
won't be there anymore.
Yeah, it's
Got it.
not.
Right.
It's not something that you
1.05.
continue to budget. So that is a 23.5% increase. Our increase in the budget is commensurate with the increase in the population. I do this every year with my finance desk. I always look at how much money came in recurring and how much came in
Yeah.
in new growth. Now, so the city budget from 20 to 850 to 1.5, the city's budget grew by 6%. And the reason we are increasing services while we're still building out.
All right.
So
Mike,
6%, our 23.5 to the 22 is 6%. The state had a 312%.
all right. So, but your boy Mike G and Senator Martin don't care. They're about to push this down on you. And
Yeah. Well, look, it's an all-out attack. It is I try to tell my council this all the time and the residents. The state always is applying pressure on the municipalities.
So-
always.
so what's the
Look at Doge.
well, let's focus on this.
Doge's report came out in January. Go through it. Do you see any state agencies in that report?
Right, and they don't have to.
It is entirely targeted on municipal government. And why? They needed data for the January session to get this through, and they're coming out with a new round of requests now. My guess is they're going to have another report come out in October, right before the November vote. This is not all by coincidence.
So you guys have been able to prepare for a 150 homestead, right? And so how much?
No, we're not. No,
you're not prepared for it.
Well,
no.
You
know the dollar amount is what I meant.
Oh, yeah. 47.7 million.
Okay, so how will you find 47? How will you recommend to the council that you attack a 47 point whatever million deficit or whatever you want to call it?
Well, okay. So
we have a whiteboard with everything on it.
So first of all, we have an election.
Yeah.
So my job is to educate, because there's nothing that this council can do between now and November that will change what the next council does as of the outcome of that vote.
Well, you do have to do a budget, and will this budget have anything to do with the property tax reform or not? Will you try and pull
to the best of my ability? I'm going to try to get this council to prepare for the next one so that we have some buffer, right? We can't be reckless.
Yeah. Right. Is there any fat to be cut in your budget?
All the money that's in our budget goes to services for the community. I talk to residents all the time who don't want certain things. I talk to residents who don't like the parks we built. Mm-hmm. They didn't vote for it. Our GO bond didn't pass by 75% of the voters. There's a good portion of our community who thinks those parks are fat. There's a good portion of our community who think we have too many fire stations, that, why do we need another one? Why? There's a good portion of our community who say sidewalks are unnecessary. It's one person's fat is somebody else's appeal.
What is the response time when somebody calls and needs a fire response? I heard it was 12 minutes. Is that correct?
No, I don't know. I don't have that with me. I did see a report go out this week from our fire chief on it.
Okay. So there's no fat? Are you saying there's no fat in that budget?
So
let him answer, dear.
Describe fat.
I don't know. I'm not describing fat. People say make them cut the fat out. I don't know. Do you think there's something that can fit into that category or not?
Or is it going to be services? What is going to have to be cut?
There is no way to cut 47 point. Okay. So here's the other thing. We got a $1.1 billion budget. We're talking about the general fund. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about a fund that is about 25% of the entire organization. But the reason it gets so much attention is because of that 269 million, 100, almost a little over 50% of it comes from property tax. It's not a big part of the budget. But it gets the most attention because it has police and fire, public works, and parks. It's the services that most people see every day.
Are you worried that if this does pass, how it'll impact? Are you worried about it?
I'm not worried. Here's what I worry about. You have the state out there pushing property tax reform. Do you think it's interesting that the state wants to cut taxes? They're not cut. I just read to you how much their budget increased. They're not cutting any of their own revenues.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's very
interesting. What I think is disingenuous is that our residents don't know the choice.
Yeah.
All I keep hearing is we want to give them a choice. Well, what's the alternative? No, the alternatives are left up to local government.
For sure.
And all of those alternatives are being put together in real time without even knowing the outcome.
Yeah, I think the cities have to educate the residents on what will happen if this vote passes, and try and do it without making it seem like you're fear mongering, because that's the balancing
do it
act.
soon.
Listen, I've been through this. In 2008, I was the business manager for Public Works. I got pulled into the city manager's office and worked for an austerity manager, and we cut the budget. We eliminated services. I'm told you, we browned out houses.
Yeah, right.
We stopped going to disturbance calls. We stopped going to loose animal calls.
Cat in a tree. We'll leave it up
we
there.
were talking about shutting down special pops to where we had that portion of our community come in. And what ended up happening, we were looking at cutting so much of, we cut out all the dredging. We went down to 2 dredging crews from 6. We cut out medium mowing crews. We had grass that was 3 feet in the roads. I've done it. I have done this.
Yeah.
I know what the outcome looks like. I don't know how many of our residents were here in 2008. I know what it looks like to cut that kind of revenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have a question? We're kind of running over, but people are starting to get their checks. But
your Doge deadline was on 6/25. We're past that extension. Can you explain that for everybody, please? Why it's past that?
What is it?
Your Doge deadline was on 6/25. It's now 7/3. So why is it past the deadline of when you submitted the information?
A Doge deadline? No, we gave them. Are you talking about the most recent letter we got?
I'm talking about the most recent letter.
Yeah.
You were given to 6/25, right?
And-
Okay.
and-
so we're past that timeline to where you submitted everything out.
Do you have
So why hasn't it been
Do you have a
submitted?
problem? Calm down. Calm down.
You don't need to
We're
like
not-
talk to me like I'm two.
We're not past the deadline. You're the one who came up here.
I'm talking. I'm asking a legitimate question.
Okay, well, you're not letting me answer.
You don't talk to me like I'm two.
okay. We're
Okay.
having a great show. We're having a great show. I think you got your question, right? You asked your question.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let him
Thank
answer.
you.
So
Thank you for the question.
as soon as we got the letter,
Can you
we
just-
responded.
We just can't see the camera.
we
that's all.
responded back to their office. 2 of the items that they sent us in their letter had a nomenclature that had nothing to do with the city. So we actually pointed out to them that items they requested were not relevant to Cape Coral. In addition to that, they were asking for things related to Hudson Creek. That's a private development. We don't have anything to do with the contractor. So we had to work through with them things that weren't even related to Cape Coral. Then when we met with all our staff, it became apparent that the easiest thing to do was to give them a backdoor entrance into all of our data. And so they're actually pulling the data themselves.
So you've opened up the portal for them to go in and get everything that they want out.
100%. We have nothing to hide. Cape Coral, all of our expenditures, all of our employee salary, all the stuff they ask for, purchases, we have it all up on Socrata for
Okay.
to people to look at.
All right.
All of our employee salaries are up there for people to. We have nothing to hide.
All right.
So
All right,
we
great.
said, rather than us printing out all these documents, we said, come get them.
All right.
I think her question is, they're looking for printed documents that we're going to publish on the website, but they've been in the system for weeks now.
All right. All right. I just have a
I
couple
guess
of
you
quick
should have brought
comments.
that
I don't
too.
have questions. One of the comments that I want to say, we have a lot of supporters here that supports our city manager, but we also have a lot of haters. And let me tell you right now, with personal experience with this city manager, he is the most awesome guy that I've ever met as a politician. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why he is one of the greatest men, a greatest politician that I have come across in my entire life. My goddaughter, Nevaeh Danslow, wrote him an email because she was concerned about the Santa Barbara veteran intersection. Nevaeh sent him an email at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening. Guess what? 6 o'clock. Who is still working at 6 o'clock? This man. Nevaeh got a response 45 minutes later from this man, who actually responded to a high school teenager in 45 minutes. And a lot of people says, oh, he doesn't care. How does he not care when he actually took the time to respond to my goddaughter? You tell me. On top of that, he met up with Nevaeh. He sat down with Nevaeh, gave Nevaeh what kind of ideas that she can do to try to improve that intersection. What can you say to that? These are the stuff that no one brings up. all everyone does is to try to bash him. But who actually stood up for the citizen? Right here. Right here.
I know Dan Shepard is here too, and I know Dan Shepard has a story about how you helped him. So I think
they're only open so late.
I didn't know Dan's story until he's told it on the show. And
yeah. So I think
it's
we had
humbling.
we had a question over. She had her hand up. I didn't even. Sorry.
Okay, so I know Mike as a personal friend. I don't know. I wanted to hear about the flagpole, frankly. And I want to.
my question.
I'm stealing your question.
Best for last.
Because I know Mike, but he's so flippin' busy since he became sitter manager. I never see him anymore. He comes by my house, he'll drop off some fish, and then he's gone. I don't even get to talk to him.
Fish.
So yeah, he's a great fisherman. Anyway, so my question is, what inspired the flagpole? And was it 250 because it's 250th anniversary? And then, I'm sorry, one more question is, what is the city going to do to promote it for tourism? Because I'm really excited about it. I've told a lot of people, come see it. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Quick answer.
Well, so last year I was sitting down with my Parks and Rec staff, special event staff. I brought him in. I said, listen, I'm going to have the opportunity to be the city manager for the 250th anniversary. We need to figure out a way to celebrate in our community. And we started brainstorming, and we talked about, my original thought was to have an event every night this week. So Monday night, we'd have like the reading of the Constitution. Another night, we'd have articles. Another night, we'd have a chili cook-off. One night, we'd do, a bike, a ride, for try to get everyone in the community involved. We'd have a parade. We'd do all different kind of things. That just became too much to coordinate. We need a lot of nonprofits. It was just massive to put together. And so we were sitting there, and I started to talk about, let's put up a flagpole. And then it came to me, let's put up a 250-foot flagpole for the 250th anniversary. The genesis of that came from when I was serving in the United States Navy doing counter drug ops in the Central and South America and the Caribbean, off the coast of Cancun when we were heading south down towards Cartagena, Colombia, and Panama. There is a monumental Mexican flag flying on the beach. And I saw that. And that flag, it put an image in my mind. And I always thought, why doesn't America have flags like this? And so when we were sitting around brainstorming, I knew it. I knew exactly what we had to do on the 250 was to put up a 250-foot flagpole. I had no idea at the time that it was going to be the tallest in the state of Florida. And I had no idea that it was going to be the second tallest in our nation, only behind a 400-foot flagpole in Wisconsin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Did you know it was going to cost $500,000?
No. I once I knew there was support, like everybody is okay. So I quickly started trying to find out, where do you buy one? Who makes them? Turns out there's only 3 people that even manufacture them. And they were all in the, 380 to 450 range. So I knew where it was going to be. The reason I set the goal to fundraise at 500 was because I did not expect that I was going to have somebody donate the grading and the fill. I didn't know that I was going to have somebody donate the electric work. I didn't know that I was going to have somebody donate the sod, the pavers, all these things that businesses just came out of. There was a lot. I didn't expect. I was expecting that I was going to have to contract for all that and have enough funds to pay for that, but I didn't.
So I apologize, Julia, but we have to end the show. I wanted to end the show on what you think we're going to see tomorrow. What's that event going to be like? And what are you hoping for when that whole thing starts?
You're probably going to see me cry.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I feel it right now just trying to talk about it. When you stand at the base of that flag and you look up, the pride you get, it's immense.
Mm-hmm.
The responsibility that comes with being American, And then I think about all the service members that are serving today through the conflict today. And I think about all the people that gave everything and gave some for what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
God bless America and God bless our troops.
Big hand for Mike Ilczyszyn, everybody. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming on and doing this. Thank you very much. We will see you all tomorrow at 2:50 or a little bit before that. And that's going to be an awesome event tomorrow. Before you go, we want to tell you about our sponsor, and hopefully you'll all stick around and have a drink or an appetizer, Rocket Health and rockethealth.com. A national company headquartered right here in Southwest Florida, helping individuals, families, and small business owners obtain affordable health insurance. Give Rocket Health a call or go online at rockethealth.com. 239-800-0303. 239-800-0303. Thanks for coming, everybody.
All right, dear, I'm giving you the boot.
We'll see you next week. Mike Peterson and Joe Angrisano.
Who's in the back?
I see him.